to use his power or teleportation at some point, which is why you saw him just sitting over at Shaq kind of limbo for the remainder of the trial, really trying to get a hold of the refs to see if we can go for a no-fault restart, or actually technically it is a survivor fault restart, therefore the killer is able to change the build with no penalty applied to our survivors. Regardless, this is going to be sorry, that's a killer fault restart. I meant survivor fault restart. Regardless, it's going to be just, run it back. No deduction in points. I'm pretty sure the survivors were happy to kind of keep everything pretty much the same. LV Duck now just trying to traverse into the middle of the map and have a little bit more of a better start, I guess, than last trial, because you definitely want one. And we do manage to find our first chase right off the rip here over at the Shack, as we do pre-drop this pallet here after being infected with the UVX. We are going to be trying to make as much distance as humanly possible all the way into Edge Map 3, where we do have this nice little 4 walls, the strong 4 walls. Or is it a 4 walls? It's like a 3 walls. I don't know, maybe 1.5, 2.5, something like that. Regardless, very strong tile, a good tile nonetheless to keep up throughout the remainder of the trial if you are able to do so. As LV Duck does take the next chase onto Mer here on the inside of main, we are going to be pre-dropping one of the strongest fillers straight in front of his face and trying to make all the way down over at 8, which leads me to believe that the generators behind us are the ones being worked, as we have pressured the survivor off of main. That was one of them. So we do see Orlando ready to take maybe potentially a protection hit if the need be, but with the UVX applied onto Mer, he is going to be trying to break the line of sight just before we can get it again momentarily. LV Duck now charges it up and with some nice placement is going to use that AoE to get Mer down and on the floor for a pain resonance hook after the pick. We do see Sacred's generator over at 1, about 70% of the way done. All in the meantime, everything else about 25%. Ghosty.
Honestly, it's unfortunate that we've had to do a restart, but a power loss for a killer is pretty detrimental, I would think. And we've noticed a bit, as we mentioned, I think you mentioned, Hunter, a bit of a build change. We've got Turn Back the Clock, a bit of a personal favorite of mine. I love seeing this perk, and you can get so much good value out of this perk as well. So I'm a big fan of LV Duck's decision to bring Turn Back the Clock into play, but it does, as I'm sure most people will know, have that sort of counter synergy with Eruption, since it will not apply the Eruption. Thankfully, otherwise, I think this perk would be most likely just straight up banned all across the board, because being able to just range apply stuff like Pop or Eruption would be absolutely bonkers. But a bit of a change in the start, obviously. We don't get our initial basement hook, and we weren't able to get a pain rest hook on the mid side, but a mid hook is still very nice, being able to have full line of sight on that hook from main, and it looks like we are already starting to pressure the unhook. I believe that was our Claudette. Sacred's trying to sneak their way in to try and deny that second stage, as it is slowly coming in. And we also see the ace also coming through to make sure that the unhook happens. Tag comes through, but it is not too slow, meaning we do get the unhook onto Merc, and they will be able to continue their chase towards Shaq. I believe Shaq unfortunately was burnt, though, on the early chases. We only have our Deep 6 filler power to play, but we are infected by the UVX, so it's a bit of a dangerous situation for Merc. Good dodge though to avoid the UVX down. We should be able to make it to the 4 pallet on our mid 6 side. Beautifully done by Merc, but a beautiful little walk around by LV Duck will secure the down onto Merc. I think they may have been going for a grab there, but the down regardless. We are getting some good progress onto our third gen of the trial to be popped, and with 2 being popped, a very good position for the survivors to be at with a Deathhook survivor, but having power back definitely is needed, since we don't want to be just a straight M1 killer for all the game, and it looks like we are crossing to try and interrupt this main gen with Turn Back the Clock, showing the value you can get of it. But even with that ranged kick from it, we do manage to sneak in and get the unhook and the FTP onto Murphy, which is what we want to really extend their chase and allow these gens to pop as our third gen of the trial now pops. Infection does come through, followed by the M1. And now we are sending it all the way up towards our 3 side, which is a good spot to be in at the moment, giving a bit of advance towards our clone on our top mid side. A nice little infection back again onto Mercy as well, as we drop our that tile 3 pallet that you mentioned, Hunter, is a very good tile to have, but did its job to allow us to try and get all the way up onto that one side. Another beautiful dodge of the UVX, making it all the way up to our 1 corner. But unfortunately, with this short wall, we are not able to win the 50 on the pallet, so this will be our first death of the trial. But a beautiful death spot, and look at these generators, Hunter. We are looking at another gen popping for our 4th gen, and the 5th very close around the corner. Even with a pain raise though, I've just about eaten my words, because this gen will not longer be popping thanks to pain raise, but still a very good position for our survivors to be in.
Yeah, just playing it extra safe. There goes the Turn Back the Clock value on the top of main as well, and he is going to be following up here our killer holding up that UVX does manage to get the infection rate as well, but we really don't want to be dying in front of this gen. That's mid been done as well, so maybe both survivors just go for a little bit of a reset straight after. That's mighty unfortunate stuff for Sacred not to be able to dispel the UVX in time, or just potentially even dodge the ball there, because that could have proved to be troublesome for LV Duck. He is going to take this hook now on the backside of main, more towards facing 11, and after taking the teleportation over at Shaq, does anticipate that the survivors are going to be stealthing for the reset over at 8. So after placing that poop down straight back in the corner there, we are going to be spotting out Cade, who is in an unfavorable position, no pallet to his disposal, just kind of has to just loop around, break line of sight, and run with a dream in his hands. He is trying to just send it down to the cylinders there, but does not make anything. He's just going to be going down. Now, Orlando on a full health state is going to try and get the pull just before LV Duck's eyes, and we don't have a TP there to get back in time, so we are going to be trying to go for a 1-1 split, maybe even try and get Cade back off the floor. But if we chase Orlando, that's going to allow us the extra time just to rotate down to the bottom side if it's our injured survivor going to pick up Cade, and that seems to be the case. This is going to be Orlando just taking that UVX infection tag and just going to try to be making any sort of pallet that we have left in main. Going to be trying to dodge the firecracker there too. LV Duck looking up in the air, and then does successfully get another UVX once more. Still getting that line of sight breakage, dodging the UVX again. Beautiful stuff. Do we manage to make the window with that teleportation? I'm not quite too sure. W ping there to be able to make that vault. I know I don't make that under any circumstance. And getting the UVX off just in time before the second tag. Orlando having the chase off his life. Currently back vaults the window as well. I'm not too sure if the pallet was broken. It was beforehand. And we'd gone for a little bit of a crouch tech, but it did not pan out the way we would have thought. Regardless, Monk back off the floor, broken as well. Cade all healthy now after being picked up. That's the clean break too coming in from Monk. I was wondering what was the reason for him being broken, and I don't think there's going to be an FTP in the trial due to the fact that Unknown is one of our tier 3 killers. So yeah, clean break. We really needed to pop off, and he needs to last the extra, 30 seconds that it has left on the timer. So we are going to be trying to play the mind games, but it does work out in our favor. That's going to be Monk back on the floor, so we will not be seeing clean break being used. We are going to be taking the break onto Shaq here too. Now, it all depends on how the survivors can pull this back. They need to just kind of slow the game down a little bit more, and by saying that, I'm meaning either a really long chase or something along the lines of just stealthing out LV Duck entirely. But with Orlando injured and Cade now in chase with only a full health state, he is looking like he's going to be tagged very, very soon. As we do try to greet the pallet, we do win the AoE mind game there, just dodging it ever so slightly, and we're being hit through that pallet. That's absolutely disgusting work. The TP as well aiding us in all regards. That's going to be the down onto Cade. And again, rinse repeat scenario, ready for the pain resonance to slow that generated down over at Shaq as well. So all pressure negated. Hop off the gen if you are on it. Sacred did it just in time. It's still looking very likely for Duck to solidify his 4K1 here.
Oh, yeah, no. Orlando did an amazing job with that last chase that we just witnessed, really buying that time back. And I will say, Hunter, I did notice that we actually did have FTP, unfortunately, on Cade, who was caught out to send. So I guess the saying still that we do not have access to the FTP. But that was an amazing chase for Orlando. Like, definitely what could have brought things back still for our survivors, but we are still in a situation of all 3 survivors injured. And not much gen progress still on the board at the moment since we have popped all of our progress gens. We are on our Deep 6 filler pallet, which is just a 50s pallet, and unfortunately for Sacred, we will not be getting too many more volts from that, which is vaulting on a very unsafe pallet. It's just a matter of how many volts do you get. We are seeing a nice reset coming through onto Orlando though to try and get a health set back, but this is another basement hook for Sacred, meaning that we are in a pretty tight spot. We have our clone already preset up on the basement side, and we have some clones on the top side as well. So we have pretty much cross-map traversal at the moment, which is what you want. Giving Shaq a quick kick to apply eruption down to that, since our turn back will not, and then we can use turn back if we need to do a bit of a drive-by kick onto this main building if we wanted to, while we enter our chase with Cade. But it looks like we may be just opting for our tag onto Cade, come back, kick gen. Oh no, it's actually just regressed to nothing already. I don't even think Duck was fully aware that it was regressing down to nothing, so still no usage of turn back for that, but It's going to be looking like a 2v1 at this point and a pretty comfortable 4K situation whether we do see the final pop or not. But we have managed to sneak into the basement before Duck was able to get back through and unable to connect that UVX to get the infection on our survivors as they rotate back up. But we are on the timer for Sacred. They only have that 15 seconds of borrow time, basically to try and make something. We also have so many clones around this area of the map that the amount of traversal we have is so good. But Orlando, that reset coming from the Arnold coming into play, allowing Sacred to extend the chase. But unfortunately, I think if that was a bit of a ping moment right there, if not the delayed hitbox, taking Sacred down, putting it to a 2v1 at this stage. And as much as, yes, we don't have our painters anymore because they have done their job, it looks like we'll be seeing a very nice 4K1 result from Duck, unless our remaining 2 survivors can do a golden chase to at least push for that 4K0, turn back the clock being used now just to move past that gen, as we do see the scratch marks of one of our remaining survivors. I think that may have been Cade. Yes, it is Cade, and they will be sending up towards our left side corner. So I believe Orlando will most likely be trying to probably go towards our bot side and just sit on one of our bot side gens while Cade plays their life. But Duck doesn't really have to commit to too much at the moment. They're in a relatively good spot overall here. That clone's still down by Shaq if needing to come back down. And I think we still also had that topside clone as well. So we've still got pretty much cross-map traversal. We see the scratch marks coming from Shaq. Orlando, I believe, was down at our Shaq generator trying to get some progress onto that if Duck decided to overcommit a little bit towards Cade. But very smart gameplay by Duck to not be too committing to that chase and not give Orlando that free pressure, since a 4K1 is looking very, very comfortable at the moment. But we've had a very good result from both sides. Our survivors have played this set quite nicely. I believe this was Scarlett's pick, so you'd expect it to be a set where their killer side does put on a pretty good performance and set up a good tone for the following match, but it could still go either way, as like this is Div 1. These are very, very good teams, and I believe Scarlett has, correct me if I'm wrong, Hunter, just moved up from Div 2 into the Div 1 sections like Artorias did in our previous series, so this is their time to show what they're expecting now, becoming Div 1 team players. And as we can see, this will be our last chase onto Cade, as we have slowed Orlando life coming into play to make it towards our one side. But Hunter, overall, this has been a very nice starting game for the second last series, I believe, for tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Scarlett being one of our actual Div 1 teams previously known as Caustic last season, so they've had a fair bit of Div 1 experience on their belt, but Cade now is just going to be taking the last chase of the trial. And it's important to note that obviously Tensei was also once formerly Shinto, just obviously with the exception of having Sacred on the team now, and a few extra pickups considering the fact there have been a few players who have left or are no longer with us in OSL. But that being said, this will be the 4K1 done, chopped up in the end. Just unfortunate for the survivors that they weren't able to follow along with last game, as the bug had happened. But this is, you know, DVD. It is the game that sometimes just kind of craps the bed every now and again. And we are really trying to find Orlando. It doesn't really matter too much if he bleeds out, considering all remaining stages will be allocated towards our killer after having him hooked already once. LV Dugshake in the basement, finding nobody there, but he was so close once upon a time. I do believe Orlando should probably just crawl into the middle of the map to get the game underway, and I think he's clicking onto that fact is because even though he bleeds out, he doesn't mean anything towards our scoring here. So, you know what? Considering this fact, I think what we're going to do is... Actually, no, you know what? Yeah, no, we'll go into a quick intermission while we get the next game set up for you guys. We won't make you wait and sit around and watch him find somebody else and listen to us yap, because I don't think my voice will be able to take it, and I don't want to put that kind of pressure on now. Caster Ghosty, so... Like I...
3. But obviously, with it being Scarlett's pick, the Survivor side is going to be definitely putting the pressure onto Tensei's. Mercy, I believe, is our killer player of choice, so we'll have to see what magic they can come up with on this set. Bit of a slow start for our survivors trying to cross down to the bottom side, as we did see Mercy come up towards our top side, and it looks like we have already found our previous killer, LV Duck, to start our initial chase, holding up our power to get our first infection around our two side of the map with only this pretty low wall filler to play, but it doesn't look like we're going to be overly aggressive to commit. LV Duck trying their best to try and clear that infection to not allow it to remain, chasing after the kill, and it does look like we managed to get the clear as well. So unfortunately, all we really lost out of that was a filler pallet drop as we commit to our second chase of the trial onto Volkers, I believe, I'm not mistakenly seeing that, but onto our second chase. Very quick start. Playing 50s at the pallet on the water tower, but will be getting hit through, unfortunately, baiting out the UVX, leading to an M1, and the pallet being used, making a lot of distance towards main, the loop you want to be playing on this map. Definitely still one of your strongest resources, unless you be a little bit special with it if you're the killer and throw those UVXs at the floor, but I see why we went to main with head-on also being set up. Hunter, this is already an explosive start for our Scarlett survivors, but we do have a lot of survivors tied up at the moment, but we do see some gem progress in the background as well, being doubled. So not as much gem pressure as what we saw from Tensei survivors last time around, but this is very early into the trial, so we'll have to see where this snowballs from here.
I would agree, and we've triple that generator just to get it out of the way, as it was fairly close to the middle. I would guess that would be the reason why, as opposed to splitting up. So Mer still forever in search of this first down and first hook of the trial. Survivors are really putting on the performance they need to if they are to be able to take away 4K0 as their current win condition. We are going to be playing around that double pallets very nicely there. Now Claudette playing very well to counteract all the movement from our unknown player, double vaulting the window even to go back to the double pallet here. So this is a very nice setup if used effectively. We've even just for some unknown reason just not vaulted the window once more, and I don't think it was blocked. I maybe presume we were trying to just deny the mind game of some sort. I don't really know what happened there, but regardless, still was a good chase nonetheless to really last that long. Yes, you did see the head-on and a few unfortunate events for our killer a little bit earlier on, which did extend our chase a lot longer, but nevertheless, Mercy now really has a lot of work to do to pull the match back in their favor. We do see Kaz just stealthing around for the pull when needed. We do know over at 8 that LV Duck has been pushed over off his generator here at the cylinders at 7. As we do take the break here, that's going to be eruption applied to that generator, and we can go back to the hook when we have the means to do so. Again, Survivors playing extra patiently. Mer really needs to put the pressure on here, and he does so very nicely, taking this chase onto LV Duck. It would be fortunate if we were to be allocated a tag, but we have ventured a little too far away for a little too long. In the background, you did see Kaz get that cheeky pull underneath our killer's nose, and she is broken, hence the FTP. The FTP is put in this set, so I'm smashed. I don't know why I said it wasn't last set, but it wasn't the perk being used, was more so my point. Regardless, we are going to be pre-dropping the pallet here over at the bottom section of the map. Going to be vaulting the window, the pallet there, not quite winning the 50-50 mind game, going down just after it. We have reset the tunnel out as well, so Kaz is a fresh hook. This will be a pain resonant stack. Granted, we can actually find one, and RNGesus is kind to us, so we do see here over at 11, this is not a pain resonance hook, but will be a hook nonetheless. We are going to be traversing back into the middle of the map here, trying to press those survivors off of Shaq, but we're not quite seeing anybody there, and I do believe Shaq has already been done, so tripling 7 again. 3 survivors all in the one spot. This is very unconventional gameplay, but you know what? It's tending to be working. Our legacy Dwight Lemon just going all the way down into very LV Duck going to main, and over at 8, you do have our Claudette just trying to get rid of that totem, which is our Wretched Fate. Our obsession, however, is hooked and out of the game, so it's not really much of a debuff, but having the perk gone out of the trial in any capacity is always going to aid you in the mid to late game, especially when Kaz comes off the hook and if she's not the tunnel out there. But we are ever so close to our win condition on the side of Scarlett. You know, 4K1 is all we need to tie, 4K0 is all we need to take away this set, and obviously for Mer, has to manage to down everybody, get them out of the game from this point forward. They cannot afford another generator to be spared. That being said, he is just playing way too defensive here. Really needs to put on the aggressive jets if he were to ever play for his win condition. And I know it sounds unlikely and ludicrous and out of this world, and why would you ever do it? But it's kind of something that needs to happen. Fortunate enough for us, the hook is close enough for the most progressed generator in the map here, main, but we have not elected to chase LV Duck, who was the survivor working it. Instead, we have seen over in the distance in the far corner of 8, it is Claudette, who was working that generator once upon a time. After pre-throwing that pallet there, we are going to be vaulting the window again, trying to play the middle of the map and unzone ourselves, all without getting hit by the UVX once more for the injure. We are just staying at the loop here, though, and this can prove to be troublesome, but we've tried to go for a little bit of a TP mind game, not quite working out the way we would have envisioned, but we do see Kaz off of the hook here. She only has one more stage before she is just sent off into the distance in our trial. So she does drop the pallet there over at the bottom side of main, and she is just trying to haul us all the way down into Shack, which is her prioritized death location at the moment. So, you know, trying to dodge that ball from the UVX there, but ultimately getting caught with the infection rate, dropping this pallet gym now. Really trying to scout her options on what she has to work with, trying to break the line of sight even, and just try to get that UVX dispelled. Playing the mind game beautifully there, running back into the killer momentarily, spelt some little bit of a hesitation, panic, and all of a sudden she is up and uninfected, but still only has one health state to spare, and the distance is being close, and she's read the TP mind game perfectly. She does have the pallet still on the floor, won the 50 there. She has 50 bucks in hand. Are we going to be able to count the 50s? It's a pretty long loot, but there's 100. Breaking the pallet there, we're going to be blinding our killer, and it's just, oh, it's all falling apart for her right now. You should have left this ages ago, because now all of a sudden adrenaline's going to proc, and she is healthy and running away. Kaz, the absolute goat, even just, you know, just running through that pallet there, greeting it all the way down into the cylinder block. She is still the death hook, and if, you know, Mer was to play for the best possible result, it would be in their best interest to leave Kaz and go for one of the freshers. Doesn't even matter getting that tag after the full health state. We do have a body ready to be taken for us. Our Claudette there, sitting over at 8, protect the president, and all survivors are out the door for the 3-stage game. You're watching currently Scarlett versus Tensei. Yes, momentarily my brain kind of forgot the names because old man things, but we're going to be seeing Tensei's killer first off the rip, since this is their pick, and it's going to be Sacred, aka Monk. You've seen him, you know, across all seasons from OSL. He's been with us since the very beginning, so let's see what he can pull out of the hat. Never really seen his Lich gameplay, so this should be pretty interesting, at least for me to say the least. But we do see our survivors here spawn over at bottom, and we are just covering the middle of the map, trying to sniff out our first chase, as you do like clockwork. We do see them just stealthing it out, and pretty favorable positions, I must say. It is all very safe. Even just a locker setup too. I'm not even too sure if that was head-on, ready for a head-on, if we did manage to see the killer. Yeah, it is. Sacred now does spot someone over at 1. This is going to be LV Duck and Chase dodging the skulls very nicely, even playing the window to just evade the hit. That's life in hand. He's going to be able to buy some distance there to the strongest pallet inside of main, but Monk, aka Sacred, does not want any of it, and I will try to call him Sacred for the sake of production, but it's going to be pretty hard for me, having known him for such a long time. We do see our Claudette just greet the pallet, and I will refer this person to the Claudette because I cannot read their name. I want to say it's Watkins, but like, I could be immensely wrong. We are going to be lifting up the pallet there, and with that extra little bit of time via the add-ons, this is going to be the tag spelled onto them, so unfortunate not to be able to win that 50 there, but we are going to be trying to buy that distance all the way down into the main building, not quite closing in time. Skull straight on top of our survivor there, Claudette, and that's going to spell the first stage and potentially the first pain resonance of the trial there, Ghosty.
Yeah, no, a very nice first hook to be obtaining as well. A nice corner 11 hook right on the top side of the map, where I believe we do have a pretty nice 3-gen setup, I believe. Yes, we have that generator over at 1, and we still have this sort of mid-map gen as well as we push LV Duck off of it as well. So we do have a nice little gen cluster, not the tightest, but most of our gens are orientated around the top side. So a very nice hook for Sacred to be taking. I can't disagree. Hunter is going to be a bit difficult not calling them Monk, and I have seen a lot of good gameplay from Monk as well. Been scrimming with him a few times as well when they fought by my old team, as I ended up unfortunately stepping down from the competitive scene actively, but very skilled player. Have seen them around the world, well, around the world a fair bit, and very prevalent in this scene. So off to a relatively good start. A beautiful insta-skelly as well, securing that down onto our Claudette as well to start things off. A nice little crouch from Lemon though as they transition into our main. We still have, I believe, yes, we do have that God fill pallet down on the bottom side, but Lemon greeting it. I believe we saw early on what this locker setup was, but maybe not a head-on at the moment. Maybe our head-on side is just not there at the moment. May have crossed over elsewhere, but playing this pallet very, very well. I believe this is a bit of a meeting for some of these players as well as Sacred, because I believe Scarlett members would know Sacred as well. So a bit of a rivalry going on, I would say, to some degree, but we also have, unfortunately for Claudette, found them as well on our 8-side or 9-side of the map as well, so they are opted to be our tunnel out. First gen does pop of the trial, beautiful little dodge of the skulls, but with Mage Hand up now as well, this is going to be a very dangerous tile as we send a little jiggy towards our more A-corner map and duck in for the hit take as well. Now that Skulls is unavailable, this is a beautiful work for ourselves, but a nice little tap of the fly allowing Sacred to phase through Duck to secure that down onto Claudette. Very well played and shows the knowledge of this killer with the little small text and what you can do with the power since it's the Lich. 4 spells, 4 different things you could potentially do. And to showing the knowledge behind this killer, the little micro side of things. Beautifully done to secure our second stage of the trial. We do see some good generator progress though in the background. We have been trying to pressure this mid-gen as it is a generator we do not want have up. I believe Lemon is still trying to pressure that one corner gen and a beautiful little prelude to dodge the orb and get out of there, turn back the clock, make an appearance again. Love this perk. I always have a big smile on my face when I see it. Giving that gen of 1 a quick kick, meaning we can still progress over to our main side and give main a quick little kick, apply our eruption down to that one, and then be back near our hook as well. Relatively good position to be in, still having 4 generators on the board, but there's a good amount of progress around the map from our survivor side. So it's all not for nothing. Duck still pressuring this gen to tie up Sacred that little bit longer so the unhook can come through from Kaz, and the FTP also coming through as well for our Claudette to have that extra breath of life and a good amount of resource on this bot side. Still have Shaq, still have that mid-6 pallet, and I believe as well the deep 6 filler as well. So we have a lot of resources on this bot side to really extend this chase, pre-dropping our Shaq pallet to play the backside of Shaq. Skulls also missing a very good attempt with the shot with Sacred, but beautiful dodge by Claudette, sticking in between the skulls. And unfortunate for Claudette though, a beautiful M1 on the window. I wonder if Ping may have come through that as our second generator does pop of the trial, but thanks to the FTP play from Kaz, we did have the health state to continue on. The Mage Hand is coming up though, and with our add-ons, even though the HUD is being lovely and we love this game, we have been informed that it is mostly Mage Hand orientated, allowing us to get the down onto Claudette, and they will be our first survivor removed from the trial. At 2 gens remaining, which is still a very good position for our survivors to be in, and it allows them to start sort of seeing where they can go for attacking our generators. We have some pretty good splits as well with that main gen still up, and I believe most of our gens now being more towards the bot side. Our survivors are in a relatively good position at the moment to get a very good result. I'm not fully aware of what you would expect to see, I believe, which is normally stages for most past hunter if I'm not mistaken, but you can still 4K, but this to me could be stages at this state if we keep up this momentum.
Anywhere between 6 and 8 stages, 8 being the ideal place for both killer and survivor, you know, giving some extra leeway on both sides. So it's something you'd more along the lines expect amongst this balancing. But Sacred now going to be slamming over that Eye of Magnus there over at main, seeing if he can have any sort of killer instinct. And there it is, somebody just cheekily working that generator there, and they're all going for their little bit of a 3 split, but everybody's nice and healthy, and with the chases that they've been having, if they could keep up the pressure like this, it leads me to believe that we will potentially be looking at low to mid stages here. As we do pre-drop the pallet just on the inside of the upper portion of main, we are going to be holding it up with the hand. Thank you, madam. There goes the slap there, and throwing up gang signs. We are going to be slowly closing in the distance, and then 3, 2, 1, in comes the flat when we do need it. So maybe potentially even blocking Kaz from all of these pallets, but no, we put it in the back pocket, and we want to be playing at other chase abilities rather. Sorry, there goes the flight there to catch up towards Shaq, and we're going to be just losing that 50-50 mind game at the window as we do vault it here. We really need the pain resonance onto Kaz to slow the game down if we are to take control back, but she is putting on the jets right now as she did last time around. There go the skulls, and she is on the floor for 2 eruption procs, 1 over at main, 1 over at 7, and that was the saving grace from Monk. Excellent stuff, top tier A+. All of a sudden he's back in the game, and that's really put him on the radar there. As we do send off the orb there, we do manage to find out that killer instinct. Dobbing the survivor, just crouched there over, oh sorry, not crouched, but just running over towards 11 with the killer instinct. Not really much to run on here. We do know that Lemon has been pushed off the gens, which only mean that LV Duck would be rotating for the save right about now. Sacred back on the case over at main, trying to see what the progression is like, and does use the turn back the clock value that we have been allocated after hooking Kaz. We do see someone rotating here, and I believe it is our tunnel out Kaz, who has crouched the skulls effectively there, but does only have 1 health state to spare, and the endurance status effect would have ran out by now. So She has to be extra careful. She is our current selected tunnel out, but she is in a prime location where the generators have been just done. We are going to be holding up the pallet then with the extra time, the extra little bit of haste. We are going to be getting the M1 around the corner, or if we just force the locker here, that might just be the next best thing to deny any sort of a slug there, as we do see LV Duck's generator is hitting about 75% of the way, and he can just commit to it comfortably here. I'm not too sure if it's being doubled with Lemon. No, the double pressure is here, so we have to intercept one of these generators, whether that does be 7 or it does be main. Take your pick, either one will do, but obviously main will be a little bit more holdable considering how close it is to the hook, the nature of how it has been laid out. We do see the scratch marks leading into the bottom half of the main building, and we are going to be following up the chase back onto Lemon, who's trying to make the distance back towards the bottom half of the map, dodging the skulls entirely, but this will result in a tag as we sacrifice quite a bit of distance in doing so. And that generator popping over at 7 has given us info that LV Duck is not going for the save currently, so we can comfortably commit this chase here over at 11. The pallet goes up once more, but I don't think we have enough time to wrap back around the long side, so we're playing the mind games to kind of compensate for it, swing through the pallet, anticipating we're going to be playing for the stun, and we've caught Lemon just on a little bit, but he is going to be pre-jumping the pallet again, winning that 50, and he does have so much distance to be working with. This pallet really showing the problems here, but unfortunately the skull's proving to be a little too strong. The micromanagement of Sacred has been immaculate this game. He's really trying to put forward a 4K1, and that would be a very good result for the Lich, because, you know, obviously we were anticipating 8 stages, which is a fair result for both sides, but with 6 allocated towards us with no real pressure to be worrying about, I dare say we will be potentially heading towards either an 8 stage or a 4K1, but at this moment it's looking like a 4K1 if we can really uphold the pressure, considering we just wasted a little bit of time resetting. It's not wasted, it needed to happen. I use that term very loosely, but, you know, Monk, aka Sacred, this is the kind of plays that needed to be happening, making sure the succession rate with ability like the skulls was 100% all the time through, and, you know, he's barely been missing them, so yeah, he's just, again, he's taking control back in the match, and he even got, I don't think he got his eruption proc on this generator here, so, you know, that's just unfortunate. It's not highlighted in yellow unless it's a spectator bug, and it completely went through my head, but again, just really trying to protect the hook here and force Lemon to the second stage. Now, I wonder if Kaz and LV Duck are just slamming out a generator, doubling it even over at the bottom side. So all while simultaneously we look over towards 11. If we get a quick flick around to what our survivors are doing currently, we are going to be sending an orb this way to see if we can find the killer instinct, but to no avail. No one is in the corner with their thumbs up their butt, so happy to camp that second stage there. We were happy with the pressure and the state of the game at the moment, you know, doing a little bit of the clockwork in our head to just kind of judge how many seconds it would have taken to rotate bound down to the bottom of the half of the map and get the gens up and pumping. It was enough for us to actually sit comfortably in front of the hook without a worry in the world, but we know someone's in this vicinity. Whether it was the rotating survivor for the pool, I don't think so. Given the fact that it happened a little too quickly for the rotation and given how much progress was over at 7. Sacred, man, he is playing so good right now, Ghosty.
Oh yeah, no, that eruption and the follow-up pain res really drew things back into Sacred's favor, especially still having a pain res, or 2 pain reses actually, still in the bank, and we are now in chase with one of our remaining threshold survivors, which will be another pain res. A beautiful little fake of our power to get the M1 onto LV Duck on the double pallets, but we do still have the pallets to play. Using Mage Hand to be able to get it up, but I believe that was Light coming through to be able to push it all the way to our God Filler down the bottom side of main. And we're not able to wrap around for the M1, meaning Duck's going to be zipping all the way around to the other side of the map. And since we haven't seen the reset onto Lemon, unless that's what our survivors are opting to do at the moment, we could be straight back onto our generators, which I believe Sacred has opted to be a bit cautious about. We do see the Pipes gen once again no longer regressing and with more progress than before, so we definitely know someone was around here somewhere, but their stealth has been quite good to avoid the all-seeing orb to give their location away, and it's put Sacred in a bit of a tough spot. They were bringing things back so well, but once again our survivors have been able to stealth away now. Yes, it does mean that our generators are unfortunately slowly regressing, but I believe we might be looking for some resets. Yes, we see Lemon and I believe Duck are trying to meet up to get their health sets back, while Kaz is just sort of stealthing, trying to avoid being seen while that happens. Maybe even try to get back onto our generator down below on the 7 side while that happens, but as the reset does come through, we do see Kaz is down on our concrete pipes area of the map, just playing it really, really slow, allowing Lemon and Duck to both reset and get their health saves back so they can probably jump onto that main building gen and start doubling that while Kaz continues the pressure on this bottom side, putting our survivors into a good spot and looking like they're potentially going to be stealing away what looks to be a 4K 0 on the table potentially for Sacred with how things were going on their favor. Back to the stages mark again. The reset has come through onto LV Duck and to Lemon. So all of our survivors are once again healthy. As long as Duck can stay safe and not end up going down next to a Pain Race Hook. And I'm not sure, I think it was Kaz, I believe, or Lemon. I think it was Kaz that we didn't get the initial Pain Res on. We could avoid that final usage of Pain Res, which will be, I think, the seal of the deal. As we can see, obviously, and what we saw earlier on as well, we do also have FTP in play, but obviously Kaz being Deathhook, we do not want probably to have Kaz in that situation of being broken and injured. And it looks like, unfortunately for Kaz, she was not able to continue the immaculate stealth that was coming through. Does manage to slip through the skulls at Shaq, but we don't have Shaq Palette to play anymore, so we're just going to have to play the window at the moment. Bit of a weird double back from our killer Sacred to go back on the outside of Shaq, but Kaz read it very nicely, holding a beautiful little check spot here. And yes, Sacred is not playing too much time here. As we can see now, both of our slowers, yes, are doubling that main generator. This pressure is ramping up at the moment, and we can see Kaz is immediately back on that 7-side gen as well. So as long as we can have a relatively good chase here, this will be most likely that final gen popping. Beautiful crouch by Duck and a window fake as well to avoid the M1 hit on the window, as well as dodging the skulls. Very well played. The mage hand is coming up though to give the pallet back, unfortunately, to Duck, because I don't think we'll be able to make it back around. We are playing 50s on the pallet now, but with life on hand, we still managed to make it around again as well and have the pallet again holding our check spot at the pallet on 1. This is exactly what we need, because with this chase, this will allow Kaz to pop the final gen of the trial. But this is where it gets a bit dicey. We don't want Duck to go down here since they are our remaining Fresh Hook survivors. So I'm expecting to see one of our Deathhook survivors to be rotating in to try and give some support to Duck to allow him to escape. And I think we did just see Kaz lurking around by the chase where it was at that point, and we also see Lemon is cranking the gate at the moment, so we really want to try and push for Duck to get out of the trial at this stage. Yes, we see Kaz here to take a hit for Duck, willing to put her life down for Duck and secure that Fresh Hook out. Kaz has been playing beautifully up until this point and is continuing it as well. We hear the gate, I believe that was the 11 gate being open now as well, so now it's just, can our survivors get Duck at least out the door and one of our Deathhook survivors take their place? But it's in a bit of a tight spot. We can sort of just hold Duck here, and if we are not careful, we may be able to do what we saw before with a little fly straight over the body box. Both of the survivors are in for the hit takes, but they are able to slip through. Unfortunately for Duck, they will be going down, not able to quite get Duck out the door, and this is a bit of a dangerous situation. We do unfortunately have to force pick up Duck so that they don't crawl out the gate, allowing our remaining 2 survivors to potentially get out. Lemon is opting to hang around though, maybe trying to trade for Duck once they go to the hook, but it does mean we get to drag a bit more in. Lemon hot on their heels though, ready to literally just instant trade for Duck, and it looks like it's coming through. Does manage to get the skulls, but it doesn't get the BT timer onto Duck, so they have BT to make it out the 11 gate, and I believe with this they will be escaping unless this flood of them can bring them all the way to the gate. Unfortunately though, they do get body block, but the endurance is still up. Do they have enough time? We will need these body blocks. Can he slip through it? He's got neck and neck, but they have to get out and get out through that gate. Lemon has secured Duck's escape, so they saved the 2 stages, with Kaz also leaving. Hero moment right there from Lemon, but oh my god, what a endgame event. That was looking so scary, but honestly, by the seconds, literally split second of Duck going down there, but oh my god, beautifully done by the survivors, Hunter.
And being Tensei's pick, I think Scarlett does not have the upper hand. I'll be very surprised. That being said, I do have faith in them that they can do it. It is not impossible. But you know, obviously, you'd have to match pretty much what Monk did the last trial. So we'll have to wait and see. As we do see our survivors here over at 1 going to be going for a 2-2 split conventionally, maybe a setup of head-on over at main like you saw last set with Scarlett, but no, it does not seem like we are doing anything of the sort. We are hopping straight on the generators that we have spawned on top of. As for build, we have Corrupt Intervention, Pain Resonance, Eruption, and Rapid Brutality. Rapid Brutality are quite an interesting choice. I can see the vision in it, especially when you get 1 tag and you hold the mage hand up, the pallets up with mage hand. It can prove to be pretty troublesome, but like clockwork, we do manage to lose all of the all of the effect it would give us after getting that tag onto Sacred. Now, our killer from last game, what can he do in terms of chase here? We are going to stop momentarily. A little bit of a bus stop to kick that generator there, so we are going to be trailing the scratch marks just a little bit later on, considering the fact that we lost that distance from just stopping in the middle of the map. So Lemon back on the case, following up the chase onto Sacred here. Yes, I can rhyme. How about that? As we do put the skulls down, nice little crouch tech from Sacred there to evade, and this is the upper hand that he'll have actually been played this killer for so long. Does not win the vault, but I think a bit of ping was played in there, Ghosty. It looks like he just staggered after the first one. I'm not too sure what happened there, or maybe it was just a misjudgment, who knows, but it did look a bit shaky.
Yeah, no, I would have thought that Sacred would have had a very comfortable revolt with being that close to the winner, even with a mini vault. That should have probably been a winner vault, so I think Sacred may have been cucked a little bit by ping there potentially, if not, I guess, well played by Lemon, but that's unfortunately going to be a basement hook for the first hook of the trial at 5 gens still remaining. But as you mentioned earlier on, Hunter, our survivors got very aggressive with the generators early on, and we can see the pressure that they are starting to build up. The Orb of All Seeing has revealed Mercy to our killer, but they are on the outside map. We have also interrupted one of our gens that will be in work, but it's only one of the 3 split, as Cade is going to be popping, I believe, our first gen of the trial. Yes, over down on the 3 side as we apply our eruption to our other 2 generators as well. But we can also see that Orlando is straight back onto that generator over on the 9 side of the map, and Mercy has also crossed back to their gen as well. It looks like Cade is being the one to sort of try and eye off that base and hook, so our other survivors can also keep pressuring these generators and get them out of the way. Maybe pulling back a little bit though, because a solo pull is a bit of a dangerous situation this early on, but it could also lead to, unfortunately, for Sacred going second, so we guarantee our gen pops in the background as our second generator over at 9 does pop, and Mercy is very close behind with the next gen. We can see a very nice 4 gen situation up on the top side, but I'm pretty sure from what I remember, our erupted gen on our 10 side is one of the ones that was being pressured as we do fly back for Sacred's death hook as well, pushing, I believe that was Orlando, if not Mercy, off of the generator, meaning we don't have that 3rd gen pop just yet, but it is getting mighty close. Stell's coming through, but not connecting onto Mercy, unfortunately, meaning that we do get to get into the basin and get Sacred out of there to give them another leash of life and give them another chase, which was a good start from not having FTP though. I believe Cade might be our FTP player, would have been probably a good position to be in for Sacred to allow them to have that extra health state, especially no longer having Shack. We've only got our deep 6 filler pallet. I don't know about our midsection if it's 10 or if it's another pallet gem to play, meaning we are a bit low on the resource side as our 3rd generator does pop. It was that 10 gen, and we do have a junk or pallet gem over here to play, but with the hand coming through, this will be it for Sacred, unfortunately. But we also do have another gen from Cade just around the corner from popping. If we can make it to this pain res, we will be able to interrupt it though, as we haven't used our pain res just yet, and it looks like with the timing it will be enough to interrupt it. So now we just need to find Cade's generator and stop him from popping it. Lemon in a relatively good position still, but the gens are building up quite quickly. The orb revealing Mercy nearby the hook, and we have spotted Orlando over on our 10 side, but this is not the gen that's being worked at the moment. Lemon, we need to drop down to that generator 1. Do we manage to pop it in time before? No, Cade is opting to let go. Playing uber safe right now. Really not wanting to give a free tag through, even with that gen being so close to being done. I think that is a very smart play still. Life coming through as well to make it all the way over to the backside of main. And I don't think we ended up kicking that gen over a 1, so that gen does have a lot of progress. I believe we did see Orlando back on the main generator, and Cade is back on that 1 gen. Lemon trying to rotate back around, realizing that maybe they haven't kicked it yet, but it does, unfortunately for them, pop in their face. We also see, I believe that was Mercy down our bottom side, and Orlando is pressuring that main gen. So we are still splitting our generators. Main is now around half progress, and we have a 2nd generator starting to build up as well. So it's going to be up to Cade to have a relatively good chase here. Unfortunately, a short swing. I think Lemon wanted to go for a bit more of a longer swing there, but will not connect, and dropping chase to go check on our bottom side gen, since we have him not really paying any attention to this generator. But it does mean that Orlando can still keep building up this pressure on the main building gen, and we have decided to commit onto Mercy, and Cade has also opted to follow up and commit to a double on that main gen to get it popped as well. which I believe is a beautiful position for our survivors, since we just need to get 2 out the door to secure their set and push the team. The adrenaline also coming through for Mercy. This is problems for Lemon. The last thing that he will need, the mage chain coming up to reset the pallet of water tower, allowing the tag to come through. But with adrenaline, we have that hell state to be able to play again, and our remaining 2 survivors can now rotate to literally just leave if they wanted. They don't even need to like play like our Scarlett survivors did to save Mercy. Mercy can just die here, and it's still the set win for Tensei. What a beautiful play from our survivors, and Lemon is forced to slug here because we can't pick this, otherwise it is just over. But even then, Hunter, if we get it down onto our survivor, whoever this is, I believe this is Cade, a beautiful skulls, I like, very nice skulls, Lemon. Even if we get this down, Orlando's out. That is the set win to Tensei.
Yeah, win on the fresh hook there, even though it's the exact same result, or not the exact same result, it's technically the same result in terms of hook stages. We do win on the fresh. W stuff from Orlando to realize that fact and just leave. But we did have, you know, 3 survivors in the trial healthy at one point after that adrenaline play. So it always looked like there was going to be an out. If we actually had adrenaline out of the game there, it could have been worrisome. But I think in the end, Lemon did. But it's glad to see him present this time around. We're getting a clown set before some of these other... well, actually, no, we've played all S-tier sets. I'm just lying out my butt. But anyway, we do have our survivors here over at corner 5 spawning into the map. Conventional 2-2 split like we saw last time around. LV Duck now with the piss bottles in hand. He got that speed going on here, and there throws in another one. He's really trying to traverse into far deep in the map as possible, as quickly as he can. He hears some footsteps here, or is he being deceived? Even I'm being a little bit deceived, because I swear somebody was in this vicinity, and we knew they were in this vicinity as per rotation. They were behind the door. They were both there. There was 2 survivors. No way. I didn't see any scratch marks. I knew I heard something, but as we do approach there goes the head-on bang and the firecracker in his face to just kind of rub it in, as we do have some pallets here to be working with over at middle 3. We do have the window laid nicely for us as per Shaq. As we do elect to utilize it, we are going to be able to wrap around once more and make the pallet, regardless if we get hit by the purple bottles there. Going for a nasty looking swing. You're not on 70 ping, buddy. That's going to be the slap of the pallet in your face. And now all of a sudden he's forced to just leave this chase here, as he doesn't want to overcommit something that probably he doesn't need to, as we do see the failed skill check over in the distance. It's going to be Mer trying to preemptively leave his generator, but we're going to have to eat the purple bottle there, and we've completely mind gamed ourselves, or have we? Maybe we're going on a little bit more of a rounds check, as we don't, not really too worried about the pressure being applied there over at 9, because it's not really worrisome. There's not really anything there that's being egregiously worked. But we are going to be playing the pallet stunts here, the 50-50 mind games over at the pallet, as we do have pallet possession, and this is exactly how you have to play the clown. You have to win the stun, you have to win the 50s, and we've chosen to use the long wall there, and we don't make anything, as we do have Bloodlust in hand, and even without Bloodlust we have to sacrifice a whole lot of distance to get that tag. And now look, we are forced into the edge map 3, but we do have a pallet here over in the bus. As we pre-drop this, we are forced to play the check spots, and with the purple bottles that we don't want to be running into, we are just going to be going down, and that will be Cade on a hook for potentially the first pain resonance of the trial. 50% on one generator, 60% on the other. We'll be hitting Sacred's generator as soon as we get this hook, but they'll be trying to push the generators as close and as far as they can before they have the means to get off it, or before they have to get off it. We're even singling Shaq. Now, I was always taught that you double Shaq, and then if the first chase doesn't last long enough, you drop it. So this will be pretty interesting to see if LV Duck picks up on the fact that Shaq is being worked currently. We are going to be throwing the piss bottles here over at 9 to intercept whoever is on this generator. As we do take the kick here, we know that there's 2 others spread on the map being slammed out. We really have to go over to Shaq and intercept that, and we're getting very close to it right about now. There goes the yellow bottles again, and we've scared our Ace and Shades Orlando off the generator a long time ago. As the faint scratch marks lead all the way into 2, we are going to be playing around the L walk here with the pallet in front of us, and we do win the 50 again. We're swinging into the metal window there, and that's going to force LV Duck to leave and go back for his tunnel out. He's going to get his eruption proc straight off the rip though, just before he does commence back onto it. He is just losing line of sight of them though, and I'm wondering if our survivor has somehow miraculously managed to stealth him out entirely. As we do check over here towards the deep portion of 6, there is going to be no balanced landing in our disposal, considering the fact of the nature of Clown just being one of those lower tier killers. even still to this day with his buffs in the recent years. He's going to be following up here with the chase over at middle 3 with the bus just still pre-dropped. Not too sure if he has anything just in the far distance that he can be working with there, but does win the 50-50 mind game. Has to break away now, and he's just elected to stay over at the bus here, but I do believe it is because we have a body of some sort ready to be taken. No, I am joking. I think it's also just due to the fact that maybe we're still working Shack potentially. I'm not quite too sure. Look at that pickup angle though too. I'm fairly sure if Monk just shone his flashlight into the bus driver's seat window, maybe he could have got that, but I wouldn't even give up the position there. Playing the patience game, and I think that's going to aid him in the long run. So, you know, he's not as dumb as me. He is playing very, very well for what it's worth. But Ghosty, I've yapped on for a little bit. I hope you are back here and present today. What are you thinking of this match so far with only 2 generators remaining and only 2 hook stages to show for it?
I mean, I am a bit unknowing of our clan sets. I don't see this set too often. I think I got into the competitive scene a little bit on the back burner end, so still a bit on the newer, fresh end of seeing the clown sets. But honestly, I would say this is probably what I'd expect it to be, with Clown being a fairly low tier killer. You wouldn't expect crazy high results. I wouldn't know what your averages are like. That's my personal lack of experience, which I will 100% own on the head, that I'm just unaware with what you could potentially get with results for this killer. We do have the BT here though for K to make it all the way over towards our 9 side, where most of our gens would be. Yes, all of our gens are completed on this side, so we have a really good place to be taking chase at the moment. The purple bottle coming through to slow down Cade, and I don't think they'll be able to make it through to the window with the haste as well from the piss bottle, so that will be the death of Cade. But with 2 generators remaining, and we are heavily splitting at the moment, no pain res to interrupt, and eruption not applied, we are in a relatively strong position to be in, getting the reset also onto Sacred so that all of our remaining 3 survivors have their full health states back. I believe we also did see the Shack generator that I do agree and follow through with Hunter, that usually you would expect to see doubled, sometimes even tripled, just to get it removed instantly from the trial, since it is one of your central gens that can set up multiple potential 3-gen setups. But the single working of the Shack gen managed to pay off. The chasers were not taken to Shack early on, allowing Shack to be a resource for this sort of mid to end game sort of position of the state of the trial. And with that gen down at the deep 6 being popped as well, we have 1 gen that we know did have progress as well. Oh, I'm mistaken actually. Shack pallet was used early on, so my mistake there, my lack of remembering what pallets have been used. Such a small map, but so many pallets to be thinking of with all the pallet density changes that could be happening. But we are in a what I just expect to see from the clan set at the moment. Orlando also is now going to be taking chase on the 11 side, does have our filler by the truck to be playing, and does get hit by the purple again, but unfortunately not able to make the revolt. Orlando taking the M1 tag as we rotate over towards our mid-12 section of the map. I don't believe, though, that Cade ended up using our pallet on that mid-12, so we will still have that resource as we transition back towards our bus area of the map. And then we also did just see, thank you to our amazing streamer, the point of view of our survivors who are currently doubling a generator to get that gen done as soon as possible. And we've also swapped our chase target over to Mercy. Mercy's now taking the chase over for Orlando, which is, I think, actually beneficial for our survivors. But we've also dropped chase on Mercy as well. We know that this bus gen was being worked and has some really good progress. I think breaching over that 50 to 60% mark. So we have managed to scare our survivors, from what our killer believes, away from the most progress gen. But we did see Sacred is still working that buses to get back onto that very, very quickly. But obviously we do want to see Orlando's health state restored. Looks like Sacred is just going to stop the regression there and make it so that LV Duck does have to give the kick again and send it all the way down to our bot side as well. Unfortunately, we only have this kind of horrid filler pallet on the edge map to try and play and make it through, but we've ended up running face first into the kill, so are forced to take an M1 tag and try and send it as far deep into the bot side as we can, only having this T and L set up on our mid 6 side, which is not what you want to see if you're in a chase against killer. But we've kind of got a little bit lost in the source. We've lost track of the survivor, and even our survivor I don't think knew fully where the killer was, so it ended up going back into LV Duck's favor. Eruption now coming into effect as well to hit all of our generators, but it only ends up hitting Orlando, because I believe we did hear the scream of the ace, dropping our gen back to 50%, which is still good progress. But this is a pain res for quite close to that generator as well, Hunter, so we will be able to hit it with a pain res. Orlando opting to just send it all the way to the top side and not play risky whatsoever. But this is looking like a pretty good game and a good state for the survivors still. But it's Clown. It's no Blight. It's no Nurse. It's none of these insane high tier mobility killers or incredibly strong power killers. It's Clown. I throw a bottle, I go faster. I throw a bottle, I make you go a bit slower. This has been a pretty good match so far.
It has been. The Survivors are still upholding very nicely, but LV Duck still in it to win it, as he did get a Pain Resonance hook straight after his Eruption proc onto Sacred there, and they're going to be forced to reset here and slow the game down just a little bit more. Eventually, LV Duck will run out of kicks on these generators, but also, by that same token, the Survivors will be using pallets to get away from unfavorable locations where they can be potentially caught in the middle of the generators here. So honestly, it's still anybody's game, as we do see 2 Survivors still injured. Hopefully, they're going for a 99 reset by now. Mer's probably trying to make a slow rotation, if not doing a little bit of a triple here happening over at 7. But we have managed to caught out one of our injured Survivors. If we do pre-drop a fairly strong loop there, we do have haste to aid us in the follow-up chase after we just momentarily win that dumpster fill and mind game. And it's just very unlucky. We preemptively dropped that, and I feel like we could have played stun. We either had to just die on the pallet. I think after respecting it, it would have... I think if we just would have agreed the pallet and respected 24/7, it would have resulted as long as that chase lasted. But now the resource is gone, and that's going to hurt the Survivors in the long run. They do manage to get the fast pull though there, and they really need to reset by now, because Clown is one of those killers that will capitalize on the fact that you're not resetting. But with Sloppy Butcher into play, it's going to make it a little bit harder. It's going to take a little bit longer, and if you're intercepted, if you're interrupted, it's going to negate all kind of progression that you had in that instance, meaning that your healing bar is just going to go all to naught. And I think that's what LV Duck is trying to capitalize on now, as he does try and scour the map looking with his eyes. I think we saw a crow land into the bottom half of 6, very deep into the map, and it would not surprise me if Sacred is also here with balanced landing ready to be used at the hill. There it is. Yes, we were correct in our visualization analysis. Thank you, lovely spectator. But we are going to be using the piss bottles again to get back towards the middle of all these generators. And again, team OSL, it is going to be a rinse repeat scenario where we're constantly in a state of trying to get tags and take effect onto Sloppy Butcher, all while in the meantime our Survivors are trying to break that mean 3-gen that we have. It's not technically mean, it is workable. It is pretty fast spread, but with the yellow bottles in hand, you're able to just kind of bounce between the generators effectively and not really lose too much time in doing so. But we can safely, comfortably commit chase onto Mer here, especially after the failed vault, as we were anticipating that our killer would just go straight through the lockers there for a head-on play. Did not quite work out the way we had envisioned. LV Duck now just going to be throwing those bottles, trying to get back to the generator here over at 3, where we see our Survivor just rotate off it imminently. This is going to be Sacred getting hit through the pallet straight after the stun. That's the resource gone at the cost of his tag. And we vaulted into the killer too, and everything's just kind of going to shit for our Survivors here now after we've just given a big old smooch onto LV Duck. Sacred on the floor now. We don't really want to pick him. He is in the middle of everything. Our Survivors on the back foot now, as we do see our injured Survivor here over at Shallow 6 and the rotating healthy Survivor Orlando trying to get to the slug, but ultimately double backing as we anticipate the killer is coming back in the next few seconds, and he does so nicely here. LV Duck really able to put the pressure on where it needs to be applied effectively too. So there goes the reload of the bottles here. Take your pick which one you want to use when you do need to use it. That death in the middle of the generators is going to be very, very bad for our serves. No hook to show for it just yet. And we have used, actually not all stacks of Pain Resonance, and I have not counted correctly who is the last stack, but I do not think that it is Sacred. Sacred going to be hooked here in the middle of everything now, and it's going to be extremely hard to get him out of this scenario with 1 injured and 1 healthy in the trial right now. So it is looking extremely likely that we will be 4K1ing, which you were elaborating before you did not know the average, and neither do we, because we actually need to wait for sets to actually be played in OSL. But what we can give some insight is the balances expected result, and that is 8 stages for the Clown. That being said, we are going to be getting another tag onto Orlando, and this is just furthermore pushing it into the favor of a 4K1, especially being found like that in a very bad location. As we do take the break of the generator here over at 12, we are going to be going back to just venture off and just protect over here towards mid 2. So are they working 3? I'm not too sure, maybe, but the killer just does not have a reason to ever leave Sacred's side.
Yeah, no, everything has pretty much all fallen back into LV Duck's hands. That gen over by the buses was such high progress, but I'm pretty sure it is literally at nothing now. In saying that, if I am not talking out my ass right now, I believe that Orlando may actually be our final pain res because I believe they got hooked around our 7 side, which was not a pain res. So I think it's Orlando that may be our final pain res, but obviously with Sacred being removed from the trial, we are down to the 2v1 at 1 gen remaining, and it is still a loose 3 gen, yes, but still one that, as you mentioned, can be held with the yellow bottles to be able to speed us up and ping pong through, and a beautiful swing through onto Mercy to get that down. And as we can see, the aura from Eruption proccing onto poor Orlando, revealing their location regardless, even though at this point LV Duct had no reason to pick Mercy there. They can just slug them on the floor, hunt down Orlando to lock in the 4K1, but I'm a little bit surprised as well. I'm very much agreeing that like it would be around the 8 stages mark, because it's Clown. Like, it's an M1 killer. Like, I can speed myself up a little bit, or I can slow the sliders down a little bit, but it shows that if you play the killer well, you can perform quite nicely, and that death by the 3 gen really threw a curveball in for our survivors, and it just snowballs straight through for this 4K1 for our first tiebreaker clown set. Orlando doing a very nice job though, lasting around our 7 side, around our little trash car, oh sorry, the car pile pallet at 7, and rotating back up towards our 10 side. Might try, as much as obviously at this point you would expect it to be over, but we could still see the attempt maybe to try and get Mercy back in the game. But obviously if we do manage to get Mercy back and Orlando does go down for their troubles, it's in the exact same situation. So we're on a bit of a situation of just a bit of a golden chase at the moment, see how long we can go, show what we can do and what we're capable of, Hunter. But like 4K1 for a clown, this is your tiebreaker set as well. I don't know how this is going to go, but maybe we're setting the bar at a high point for potential clown sets moving forward if we do manage to see this killer come back in later series of OSL, but with a down onto Orlando to secure things up. And all we would have to do at this point is just hunt down Mercy, who we saw was just chilling by the hatch. 4K1 on Clown from LV Duck, which, if I'm not mistaken, was our unknown killer for Scarlett on the unknown set. What a first set result to be putting up for your match against, as mentioned, what used to be Shinto, but now currently Tensei. The pressure is definitely going to be on now for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, all credit to LV Duck to really be able to capitalize after the tunnel out. I think we needed those chases coming in. Look on the sheets right now. It is going to be Monk, the fallback man, the rock for this team. Now, what can he pull out of the hat? 4K2 is what he needs to take it away. 4K1 for the tie, and for one of our unfortunate mods to go back and watch it again to see if there's a winner, as you need to replay the ties as per rule set this time around this season, as there's only 6 per group, not 10 this time. But yeah, I wouldn't put it past Monk to get a 4K2. It will take, again, a lot of error on the survivors, though, and I don't think these guys will be making those kind of mistakes, but we have yet to see that as we do spawn in the bottom side of the map here. It's going to be Monk over in deep 12 as we do take our yellow bottles here to traverse through the map. We are going to be scouring out towards this edge map, maybe even going for a little bit of a cheeky play here, going down the edge. I've never really seen this. Usually you just go straight down the guts of the middle of the map here and try to look for one of the survivors that are making their cross rotations, and because we've done that, the Monk strategy has worked, and we've gotten a tag onto LV Duck, who's just pre-dropped the pallet. That Shaq gone very early on in the trial, but we needed to use it. This ain't the pubs, this is competitive DVD. Who gives a damn? Throw the damn thing. But we are going to be following up the scratch marks here. Does he have balance landing in hand? It is allowed. There it is, and he's going to be using 7 to his disposal as we do pre-drop it effectively. We are going to be not making as much distance as possible because of the fact that we use the purple bottle just before onto his back, and it's going to slow him down imminently. We do have access to this pallet here, and we've greeted the long side of it, electing to just relinquish the pallet possession, but we've done so in the fact that we can just break the line of sight and go down to the deep portion of 6 and pre-drop the pallet and make an elite death location for our team. Now, that this will spell the first generator of the trial popping in the background to deny the pain resonance as well, because I do believe even if we did have one here over at mid 6, that gen would be just popping straight in our face. We do have the choice to hook over at 7 as well, but we are oh, that's ambitious. I don't know if you make that, Monk. I can't look. This is about 7 wiggles. You only get about 10. He's so close. He doesn't. So calculated the distance perfectly there. even with that agitation, we didn't need it, and we didn't even see a tag coming in because you don't really want to give up free tags against this killer, and I will be in agreement with that, considering the fact that Sloppy Butcher has been brought into the trial, and now Sacred really trying to sniff out who's still lingering here over at 3 after completing that generator, but I don't really think anybody's too close. You do have Vish, who I've been informed. This Vish here, just around the car. Thank you, referees, for telling me who that was, because I was very, very lost. But again, Monk can capitalize here, Ghosty. I'm not too sure where the match will go on from here, because it does look like the survivors have the upper hand during the fact that we just dived deep into the map despite having a very early tag and had a fairly good chase for what it is worth. But how about you take on this next chase?
I mean, like, with that start, with the game plan that Monk put through, I was a bit curious to see if we would actually get some value out of that crazy edge map passing, because as you mentioned, yeah, normally you would expect we descend it down towards the mid-side, see if we can scat out our survivors early, but a very crazy little edge map gameplay by Sacred allowed them to get that early tag onto Duck, but they were able to play a very nice chase, even though it probably wasn't quite as long as what they would like it to. Just as you mentioned, an elite death spot to make it all the way to the bottom. Almost fully denying the pain raises, even though we thankfully had that mid-6 pain raise on the hill, but we did get the first gen pop and a double gen pop to follow it up, bringing it down to our win con already, and we do see a reset onto our Claudette coming in the background as well, so our remaining survivors will all be full health states, sorry, and our second stage onto Duck coming through, and we are at our win condition at the moment. We cannot let a single generator pop, and we only have our 2 stages on the board. Yes, it is our Death Hook Survivor, which is a tunnel out, which is what you want in a setting like Clown, but the pressure is ramping up, unfortunately, for Sacred, but we do spot, I believe this was Lemon, yes, on our 9-side TNLs, revolting our TNLs window again, and, oh no, it's not TNLs, we do have a pallet. I'm not seeing pallets, apparently, but we do manage to sneak in for the unhook onto Duck, and Kaz, once again, I swear, every game we've seen today between Scarlett and Tensei, Kaz has been FTP, and I can kind of see why. She's been quite cooking with it, giving Duck that extra health save, but it does mean Sacred doesn't want anything more to do with it, even though it does cost Sacred the tunnel out. It does mean that Kaz does not have the health save, but Lemon is lurking around for that hit take for Kaz to extend this chase, and they still have this pallet to play as well, pre-dropping it and making this loop a very strong one, forcing Sacred to have to drop this pallet, because it's pretty much, even with Clown's slowdown and speed up, it's almost an unplayable pallet, but we can transition it into such another nice strong pallet on the 9 side. The blind coming through, and we can see the triple of Shaq coming through to secure, well, sorry, deny the win condition from Sacred, unfortunately, and there's nothing really that can be done, because even if they were to rotate to try and deny the gen pop, one survivor just takes it, the L2 can commit for free, still popping it. Yes, obviously with Sloppy you don't want to be taking hits, but that gen was popping regardless, so unfortunately for Sacred, there goes our win con, but we still have our tie condition, and it looks like a bit of a gen cost on the bottom side. We did see that Lemon died on the pallet, so we know that someone was lurking around. It was our Claudette, planning to potentially go in for a pallet save, but Sacred not wanting to allow that to come through for free. The yellow bottle being put down to try and get a fast pickup, I believe. Is this enough time for the Claudette to come through for the pallet save? This one coming through. Claudette was almost there to get the pallet save for Lemon, but unfortunately this will lead into a pain res on the double gen from both Kaz and LV Duck. I think that might have been an unfortunate let go skill check, meaning that it would have been hit with that, but we knew that they were there regardless from it. And it was our most progress gen, so we'll be rotating back through to try and get them off of this generator, as it is now our most progress gen of the trial. Duck trying to buy a bit of attention to show, hey, if you leave this gen, I'm going to be straight back on it, and there is already a lot of progress on this generator, and the fast pull of Lemon in the background as well. Monk, unfortunately, double backing into the window, though, unfortunately giving a tag, which is not what you want against this killer. We don't, I believe, have Shaq anymore as well, because Monk, unfortunately, had to drop it at 5 right at the beginning. We do still have this pallet, though, at our, one side of the map, dropping it, though, as Sacred turns to leave, as we know this gen down at our 7 side was cranking before, and we know it was being double, so our survivors are definitely ironing it off. Kaz unfortunately caught off, but do we make the power? We don't make the power drop on our 10 side, so they will be going down again, but our survivors are straight back onto that 9 generator. Can we get to a pain res in time before it pops? Because if this gen pops, it is enough, but we are opting to try and drag it all the way to the gen. Does it have enough progress, or do our survivors just pre-leave it to try and play safe? It looks like they have opted to pre-leave it, which does mean that they lose this generator with its progress. It also gets hit with pain res, and our hook on Kaz is right next to it, so we have to essentially build up the progress again on one of our other remaining 2 generators. And unlike for LV Ducks 3-gen, this is a bit more of a manageable 3-gen, I would say, considering it's a more corner sort of style setup on the bot side with that lovely mid-6 hill to be able to watch over as well. So Sacred is in a good position to potentially push for this Tycon, but we are seeing the resets coming through as well. So as long as none of our survivors do get caught out while this reset comes through, this is problems for Sacred. Unfortunately for Claudette, though, they do get spotted out on the breaching 10 side of the map as well, but the reset onto Lemon was coming through. We did see, thanks to our Pop. There it is, the reset coming through, so outsiders can start looking again back onto these generators, and we still have 4 survivors up at the 1 gen remaining, where I believe at this stage of the game for our previous game, we were at 3 survivors, so this is big problems for Sacred at the moment. We do see a survivor lurking on the hill as the unhook onto Kaz comes through, but we saw a good chase from Kaz on our previous set, so if she can pull off another one for this round, it could be what seals the deal. A beautiful tag onto Claudette coming through as they were trying to see if they were committed to or not, but they will be eating the tag. This generator is still regressing, unfortunately, for the survivors. Sacred, so you don't have to worry about that one, and it looks like our survivors are opting for this hill hook as well. Possibly looking at that 6 gen, I would be surprised if we're not looking at that 6 gen as well. Lemon, a beautiful stun on our 4-side killer, sending it all the way up towards our 3 side, and we're not going to want to take any chases towards our top side, so Sacred's in a tough spot at the moment. Our survivors can just take tag and run top, and there goes all of Sacred's pressure on that bot side, and with 1 generator needing to be popped to take this set, Sacred's in such a pressured situation. Kaz also getting reset in the background. Our survivors are playing this very, very, very nicely. But also Sacred's been pulling off some really nice attacks as well, and some good gameplay as well overall. And could hold this 3-gen, but it's just that problem of we have all 4 survivors still in the trial. That's so much pressure that some don't realize can be applied. Not having LV Duck removed from the trial since we'd opted to try and go for that down onto Kaz after the FTP may have come back to bite us a little bit, since we are still at a 4v1 with that 1 generator remaining, and if this last gen does pop, Scarlett will be taking the win. So I don't know, Hunter, it's looking a bit on the survivor side at the moment from my personal opinion, even though Sacred has definitely performed incredibly well throughout today's matches. Just the 4v1 at 1 generator remaining. Unless we have some monumental slip-ups and a lot of misplays from the survivor side, I believe Scarlett could potentially take the set out here.
Even though there's 4 survivors left in the trial, that 3-gen is way tighter than the one we saw last trial. This is definitely workable for Sacred. Now, my only concern is limited resources, limited kicks. I don't know where this is going to go from here on out. I know we say that obviously having 4 survivors in the trial in a 3-gen scenario is just way better, and seems like the survivors have the upper hand. Just given the nature of the game though, not looking at the scorecard, I don't know. I really don't. It really just depends in these next couple of minutes that, you know, we see Sacred and what transpires through these events. We do see him just being a little bit hesitant to really commit something over towards more too deep of the map, and everybody in the trial is healthy, so there's not really anybody to be taken advantage of, given the fact that they are not vulnerable to any susceptible one hit down. So Sacred now finding LV Duck here is kind of like a gold mine, so hopefully we can get a tag onto him, but it needs to happen fairly quickly. We don't want to spend too much time losing too many 50s. So there it is, there's the tag, and we dare say I think we're just going to be leaving this now. The pressure is adequate. You have 2 survivors on 1 generator, 1 survivor soloing it, so he has to interrupt 1 generator at this point in time. He does have eruption on this generator here over at shallow 6, but he doesn't have the one over at 7. So we are going to be just trying to get this tag onto Kaz here, and that's going to force her to have to reset at some point with LV Duck. But look at that progress over at 7 as well. Sacred now forced to leave. Can't really commit those tag survivors, even though he wants to, because there's no eruption on the board. We do manage to find out Vish, who's just ran corner 11. Won the 50 as well, and stunned our killer in the process. That gen has to be close now. Sacred just deciding to leave. Lemon has pre-left it. Stealth played uber patiently. And Monk, without a care in the world, wants to find the stealth out as to opposed of going for the imminent kick on the generator. And I don't hate that play, but Lemon is way too far away to be found. Kind of just, you know, side by side with Vish over towards edge map 10. Now, Monk just really trying to hold on to dear life here, caught in the middle of everything and can't overcommit anything. So needs to get his kicks in, which he has done effectively, but needs the down. So we need to find someone in an unfavorable position. The Survivor's doing very good to be in position at this point. So an unfavorable position in this instance would be stuck at a generator towards the edge map, or even just, you know, not paying attention towards being mid-6. So mid-6 a little bit more workable than this generator here, as the resource is gone, and we do just kind of have to haul ass to the top part of the map. We do still have the window though, and we've won the 50 there. Vish in chase now. He is the only survivor that can be pain resonance in this instance, but it doesn't really help our killer given the fact that it will not bring us to the 3v1, which is what we kind of need now, even with this tight 3-gen. I was thinking it was a little bit more manageable for Sacred, but given the fact that the survivors have played so well amongst their pre-leaving and resets, it's leading me to believe that they're way too far away ahead for Monk to really be able to pull this back here, and he's still really in it to win it, not giving up, and that's what it's all about here. As we do throw the P bottles here, we are going to be closing in the distance for a tag onto Lemon, but unfortunately it won't mean too much as we do pop the last remaining generator in the trial for the win for Scarlett. That will be them taking away the entire series 2-1, and that will mean that it's like 30, or what are we, an hour behind schedule at the moment due to the nature of these sets being so long. We do apologize to our next competitors because there is one more series to be played out tonight. It is going to be Ancestor and Longbottom. Sacred now throwing those P bottles, trying to close in the distance onto Lemon. There goes the purple bottle as well to slow him down just a little bit more, but the survivors, it's probably just best if they just take all remaining outs, or how about we just play for all remaining stages as possible there, taking the protection hits in the process. How do you like us now? They're all going to be running out the exit gate for the 4 men out, and that's going to result in only